Well, guys, welcome back. We are talking today about passport bros, and the passport bros are still under attack. The passport bros are under attack. These Western women really do not like it when men take their attention and resources elsewhere and don't put up with their bullshit. So, first off, we got Destiny here trying to basically slander the passport bros and their whole movement. Let's see what he's got to say.
If a guy travels to South America because he's into Latina girls, why is that bad?
Weak men go to other countries to find vulnerable women because they can exert way more influence on them than they ever could in the United States of America. You're telling me you're looking for a Latino woman and you got to go to fucking Mexico to find it? Bro, go to California, go to Texas, go to New Mexico, go to...
Pause. Already got to interrupt Destiny here because he's missing the point. Going to Texas or Florida and trying to pick up a Latina, okay, is not going to work because she's already inundated with the American culture. She's already been brainwashed with, the modern, basically feminist agenda. So she's already, in that culture, and she's already become a part of it. That's the whole point, is going and finding women who are more feminine, right? And who are more traditional and cultural. It's not about a race thing or ethnicity thing. It's about how does she act? How does she behave? And any woman that you pick up, you go down to Florida, you go down to Texas, and you find a Latina, she's going to act just like any other American girl. It's no different.
Florida. You can find Latino women everywhere in the United States. The only reason why you go to Mexico or Central America is because you're looking for poor women that are going to flock to you because you're white and you got a ton of money. Or because you're black and you're a fucking exotic foreigner from the United States of America. That's why they do it. You go to Eastern Europe and you go to South America because these are women that their financial options kind of suck.
Okay, first of all, Eastern Europe is not really a great example, I don't think. I don't think Eastern Europe is a great example, but okay, whatever.
They're kind of relegated to sometimes not the best of lives, getting enough money to travel to exotic places, especially the United States, usually out of reach, and a U.S. guy will usually come by and pick one of these people up, and that's their ticket out of that situation sometimes.
Well, he's assuming that passport bros are going there and getting a wife or something and then bringing her back here, which a lot of times isn't the case. And a lot of times that's the worst thing to do because if you bring a woman back into a culture and her environment she's going to turn into the same as all the women that you're trying to avoid, right? All the women that you're trying to avoid that have, such masculine energy and bad attitudes, she's going to become that by being around them. So if you take her out of her natural habitat, so to speak, her native culture, and bring her all the way back here, it's not really a great idea, to be honest. And a lot of passport bros understand this concept, and so they're literally moving and going over there to live there, not to bring women back here. They're going over there to live there and stay there, at least the smart ones.
But people in Germany, France, and the UK, and Amsterdam, Netherlands, Sweden, Norway, they're not looking for tickets to escape their country like somebody in Romania or even Lithuania or places in Central or South America are. It's a totally different world in terms of picking up people.
The other thing I want to argue against is that people are always saying, oh, it's so, predatory and you're taking advantage and all these women, they don't have money and all this stuff. The fact of the matter is you're going over to a country that you've never even been into, possibly. You don't understand the language. You don't understand the customs. So a lot of times, as we've seen, there's a lot of cases, even recently, where passport bros are going over there. They're getting drugged. They're getting, killed in some cases. So it's not actually so much that you're taking advantage of women. In fact, you're in a more dangerous position than the women are because you're going over into their culture and trying to understand how it works. So a lot of times, the passport bros are the ones who are actually getting taken advantage of because they're in an unfamiliar territory. The other thing is, how is it taking advantage of somebody if you're going over there, starting a family with them or getting with them and providing them with a life that they could have never had? How are you taking advantage of them? Yes, you're being an opportunist. You're taking advantage of the difference in terms of if you're making American dollars and moving to a low cost of living area. But at the end of the day, you're not taking advantage. If anything, you're making their life better. So I'm not sure where the argument here is that you're taking advantage of them. And I've heard a ton of women say, oh, they can't speak English. You're just, blah, blah, blah. Actually, guess what, guys? I know it's mind-blowing, but the majority of the world can actually speak multiple languages. The majority of the world actually understands English, unlike Americans and, all these other Westerners who only know their own language. When I was in Thailand, most people I ran into knew how to speak enough English to have a conversation, and a lot of them were actually pretty fluent in English. So, and that was in some of the smaller towns even. So this whole concept of, you're going over there, you're taking advantage of them, you're such a bad person, it's totally horseshit. It's total bullshit to basically just, try to stop the tide of men going and taking their resources elsewhere.
Actually, when dating black girls, this is hard because sometimes you do find people who are interested, but they're interested for the wrong reason. You know what I'm saying? They just want the kidding. Oh my gosh! This one time, this guy texted me and he was like, "Hey, I think you're really cute," and I was like, "Oh my gosh, thanks." And then he was like, "Actually, I've never had a black girl before. I want to try a black girl." attracted to a black woman and want to date black women. But then they're like, yeah, I do like you. But the thing is, I can't marry you because my family
want me to marry the same. Yeah.
Yeah, guys, it's not like over here in the United States where, you know, it's a big melting pot and, you know, everybody's like, you know, a bunch of mixed different ancestries and cultures and all this kind of stuff. And it's not really weird for that to happen, right? It's not weird to see people from two different ethnicities, you know, be together. It's not weird here. But when you go to other countries, sometimes it is a little bit different because typically it's a much more homogenous population. Like when you go to Thailand, the majority population there are going to be like Thai people, right? Asian people. You're not going to see such a mix as you do in the United States. So it is a little bit different when you go over there because you are standing out because you are not the same as them. And there aren't many like you, right? Like, so that's just the way that it is. And that's part of the advantage that you have in a way when you go over there is because you are a rarity. You are, you know, a minority in that situation coming in as an American man. You are there's not many other American men, right, on an average compared to the average population. So that's kind of the difference. And I guess, what is this, passport sisters? Is this a new thing? I don't know. I guess maybe women are doing this now too.
Ladies, if y'all don't stop getting mad at these passport bros for finding them a woman outside the country and get y'all a passport and go out here, because I'm trying to find me a papi cholo.
That they don't date African women, they don't date black women. And I know many of you, and that is the absolute honesty. The way the black women in general, most of them, majority of them who come here, the way they act and the way they behave has made most men, including Arab men, not go there with them. They said that Arab men don't like black women, full stop. And black women were running like, how dare they say they don't like us? We are pretty, we are princesses, we are goddesses, we love ourselves, we are who we are. If they don't like us, so what? Honey, hold it.
So apparently there's some sort of now freaking passport sisters movement that started. Like, dude, you just can't make this shit up. You cannot make this shit up. I swear. Like, okay, so now we got women trying to do the same thing. And this is the other thing is that, you know, women really do follow a lot of these trends. I know it's going to offend women to hear this, you know, but women really do follow men's initiative at the end of the day. The fact that women are now doing this is, it's laughable to me, to be honest, because the reality is the reason why passport bros exist in the first place is because of these women and because they don't want to be dealing with these type of women. And because of Western women's standards being so high and their expectations being so high and so delusional that the average man has such a difficult time in the dating market. That's why men are moving over. Do women have that problem? Do women deal with that same issue? Not really. The reason why they may be an issue where they're single is because they're looking for some, you know, 1%er guy that isn't really exist. And so their standards are so high that it keeps them from finding good relationships with the average guy and actually being able to, you know, date, because it's, you know, apparently they need to have, you know, the guy who's 6 foot, who makes 6 figures or now needs to be a millionaire. You know, you look at what some of these women, like what their standards are, and it's absolutely just mind-boggling. So I'm not really sure why the passport sisters movement is really something that even exists, except for that, you know, women maybe think that they can go and now find some rich guy in some other country. But the reality of the situation is it's very dangerous for a woman to go by herself into these third world countries. Okay, this is not the United States of America, and you're going to learn real quick when you go into these other countries. If you're alone as a woman, you know, you're actually in a very vulnerable state, much more so than in the United States. You know, it's not very hard for you to, you know, go on a date with a guy, have a bunch of guys texting you, oh, you know, I think you're so amazing, blah, blah, blah. And then you end up in a really bad position, and you end up, I'm not going to even say it here, but you could end up in a really bad position. Men, on the other hand, it's much more difficult for that to happen. And it can still happen to men too, but it's much more unlikely just because, you know, if you look at the statistics, women are much more likely to end up in those bad situations than men are.
Well, a Western woman like you, Thai women, is easier.
Oh, am I now? Wait.
So in case you didn't catch that, she just said it sounded like maybe like a British woman saying that Thai women are easier. And this is what people always are claiming. Oh, Thai women are easy. You know, Asian women are easy. Latinas are easy. These women in other countries are easy. So let's see what her response is. This is a Thai woman here.
What is that taste? Oh, bitterness. So you're saying that Western men pick Thai girls because we're easier? You know what? Please enlighten me. The fact that men in your hometown can pick you up on the street, but choose not to, but instead fly across the continent to my country and start dating Thai women, Please tell me, which one of us is easier? And since you are a self-proclaimed independent and educated woman, maybe you should know that real intelligence and real education lies in the ability to understand and respect the difference in others.
Facts.
An intelligent person who understands their self-worth will not have to put other people down to make themselves feel better.
Facts.
If you really need to make yourself feel better by talking down to Thai women because we take all your men, maybe it's time for you to self-reflect and really ask yourself, do you love yourself enough? If you're the type of person who like to judge and discriminate people from different race, I cannot imagine how you would treat a person you are dating. No wonder why Western men buy tickets so fast. But what do I know,
Damn.
right? I'm just an uneducated Thai girl.
Damn, she cooking. Yeah, so this is the thing, is all these women are always, oh, they're so uneducated, blah, 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 blah. Okay, it's all an excuse. It's all just because, they don't want Western men to be leaving and going elsewhere. But the reality is, unless women are going to change their attitudes and they're going to, change their standards, then, men are going to continue to do this. It's just the way that it is. Guys are going to react and respond to, the situation. And a lot of guys have such a difficult time over here in the United States and in the West in general, dating, marrying, having children with these women, and the unfavorable laws that come along with that they'd rather go overseas and just deal with these kind of people. And I'll tell you from firsthand experience, when I was in Thailand, the majority of women there, not everyone, of course, because that would be unrealistic for me to say this, but the majority of people in general, but also women, they were always so relaxed. They were always so relaxed. They were always smiling. They always seemed to have this good energy. And that's just part of their culture, is to really have that sort of energy about them, and in the women, they really are, they really do carry that more traditional feminine energy compared to over here in the West, at least, in certain areas. Obviously, if you're getting into the big cities, Bangkok and whatnot, this is all changing over time as technology progresses and the ideals of the West start to spread. But I'm just saying, it's a very different energy than when you come here to the United States. Because as soon as I got back here in the States, I was like, wow, it's so different. People are they're rushing, they're angry. In Thailand, even when I was driving around and stuff, you'd have these crazy huge traffic jams, right, where people are cutting each other off and everything. There was no beeping, there was no yelling, nothing, no road rage. I get back here, as soon as I start driving on the freaking road, somebody, laying on their horn, people, yelling at each other, people in the airport acting just crazy. So it's the United States has a lot of things going on, a lot of different types of people, and a lot of anger issues and mental health issues that are just it's a lot to deal with. So I can see why a lot of people and a lot of men want to move to these other countries, and it's fun. I like going and exploring. I don't know if I'd ever move to one of these places per se, but it is really fun to explore these other countries and kind of get an idea of what's going on. So anyways, that's what's going on right now with the Passport Bros. I will continue to stay updated. Obviously, if you guys see anything and you want me to take a look at it, be sure to send me a comment or link a comment down below. I'm probably going to open up excuse me, I'm probably going to open up a locals, and that way we have some sort of platform off of YouTube, and you guys can come over there and we can talk about stuff and share articles and whatnot. So yeah, I'm going to probably do that soon. I don't know when. Right now I'm pretty busy, but that's basically it. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.